everyone. Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Amani's Vibe. And can I just tell y'all how excited I am? Because the think piece that I did about Love Island USA on June the 26th got like over 200 views, and that has never happened in my 2 years of talking about this show. I don't do recaps or reviews, though it might seem a little bit like that, but I like to call it think pieces. And I actually also like you, my audience, my subscribers, my followers, my peekaboo. What's this girl got to say? I do ask questions and really feel that I want you to think about things, because this show makes me think sometimes, like, huh? The other thing that's a little bit different about me is that I really will stay off social media, especially when I'm going to do a think piece. So I have not gone to see what other people have to say with respect to what I'm going to talk about now. I also have not looked at the first look for the show that's going to happen tonight. So this think piece is for June the 30th. For the June the 30th show. I've given up trying to write down or say the episodes, but I'm just going to put the date. So Sunday night, which was the 29th, and Monday night, which was the 30th. I'm dealing with Sunday right now before the Heartrate challenge, okay? And if you like my channel, what I have to say, my style, whatever, you know what you can do, which is like, which is where you just hit the thumb, or subscribe. And like, I'm happy with my subscribers, because I realize that the people that view my channel, it's not like boom, I post something, you're all on there. They're weekend people, they're after work people, but it's all good. You know what I mean? I just want y'all to know that I fully appreciate y'all. The other thing that I do here is I will give updates on PPG and PPGM, in particular, Serena and Cordell, and I have posted some highlights there for you. But let's talk about Love Island USA Season 7 and what is going on right now, okay? So before the Heartrate challenge, Taylor and Clark, they actually seem very happy together. I actually think they make a nice couple. They look very, very comfortable, you know? All seems cool. But can I also just say that the show started and there's like 100 people in the villa. I do have post-concussion syndrome, and I was like, what are these people's names? So even to do the notes, I really had to go back and look at my other notes so I remember who they were, because I was like, who's that person? And what's that person's name again? And who's that? Who's Ryan? Who? Oh my goodness, it's a lot. Anyways, there are still 100 people in the villa after all the people from Casa Amor in the villa all got together and had a party. No, just kidding. So they're all there together, way too many people, and everybody's just kind of like, you know, talking to each other. So we've got Taylor and Clark vibing over here. We've got Elan talking, and he actually thinks it's funny that Nick looks like his little brother. Nick finds nothing funny about Elan at all. As a matter of fact, he's not impressed with Elan. He doesn't like him. He doesn't like the fact that he's there. He doesn't like the fact that Elan is very clear that he's still going to go after Sierra. And that's how Nick feels about Elan. Sierra and Nick are having a talk, and she says that she wants to jump his bones. Oh, how nice. And Nick talks about how he just doesn't want the test anymore, right? He's tired of that. But he's not saying he wants to be closed off, okay? So this is before the Heartrate challenge. And then Adriana talks to Ryan, and she tells him that she still wants to explore. And he lies to her and says, of course, not a problem. He's totally lying. He doesn't look like he wants that. He's been very happy with her. And then in the confessional, Adriana says that she wants to talk to Pepe l'Espanol. Okay, Adriana. Huda and Chris are talking. She fully lies to him and says that she's cool, you know, she's pretty cool. And then they have a conversation kind of about their life and where they live. And so this stood out to me. Let me know if it stood out to you. But they're talking about where they live. She's talking about how she does plan to move to LA. He's based in LA, but he doesn't have a home. Now, it's because he is an international basketball player. I have friends that play ball, right? So basically, he's saying, I don't have a home because I don't need one. I'm only here a few times a year. The rest of the time, I'm playing ball, so I just stay by my family. He's very close to his family, but for me, I'm not saying it's a red flag, but for me, it did stand out like, okay, I know you're away playing ball and you have a family, but man, and we watched Married at First Sight. That's another one of my shows, but a guy kind of not having a home or something of his own, I don't know, especially with a career like that where you do make good money. For me, it just stood out that, and Huda just kept talking like that's just the best thing in the world that he doesn't have a home. Anyways, then we have Austin and Jade, and they're talking, just, everybody's having small talk. He tells her that she sleeps like a crazy person. Oh, Austin, he has such a way with words. And that's because she's a stomach sleeper and he wants to be like the big spoon and the little spoon. And oh my gosh, I learned so much information on these shows. My next note simply says Ace is a micromanager. God bless Shelly. Chris is talking to Shelly, and he's got his he's macking, and he tells her, does she know the song Cherie Amour? That, he was thinking about it with Shelly Amour. My Shelly Amour. Okay, Chris. Romanticizer. Is that a word? It's going to be one today. Okay. But Ace is crazy. Ace is literally looking at this like he's going to Mortal Kombat and it's a war and he's not going to lose. And he's talking to Shelly about not losing and that type of talk, as opposed to saying to Shelly that he really cares. And this is one of the problems I see with Ace and Shelly. Their communication, and I said it before, they go in the same circle. Ace wants Shelly to be clear on how she feels and show that to him, and Shelly wants Ace to be clear about how he feels and show that to her. And so the two of them just talk in circles and don't really are not clear. You can tell that Shelly really likes Ace and just wants him to lock it down, and Ace really likes Shelly. However, Chris is in the villa. Now Shelly didn't bring him back to the villa, but Ace knows that that's who she had an interest in. So he's going on that he could have kept Coco, but Huda brought Chris there, okay? So that's really bothering him. But I like to see Ace bothered because he's always testing the waters all the time, and Shelly's been pretty cool and consistent, okay? Olandria and Andriana talk about Pepe Espanol because Andriana's like, I'm going to make a move, okay? Now, Taylor and Clark have an interesting conversation, and it's about, kind of what type of home do you like? What's your style, right? And Clark talks about, everything, pristine and neat and white. And Taylor's talking about, the house and the barn and the cows and the horses, and wouldn't it be cute if a little horse is in the living room? And I'm looking at Clark's face and she's like, no to the horse in the living room. But when I hear that conversation, I think they're really good together. I like their energy, but it's what do they have in common here? Will her sort of style be able to adjust to Clark's style and lifestyle? Okay. Then we have Chris pulling Ace for a talk, just man to man, and Ace looks like he wants to kill him, but he handles it well. And Ace literally is 3 apples tall, standing next to Chris. So Chris is he's 6'8", okay? Then I have so then it must have been around here that somebody got a text or something, because there seems to be, the text must have come through. I love Zach and Amaya, you guys. They're talking about Zach had a cat. They're talking about they talk about family stuff or just different things. About Zach losing one of his cats. Amaya loves cats. I love Amaya. We love Amaya, okay? And So then somebody here must get a text about the heart rate challenge. And I'm thinking this is great because a heart rate challenge to me always means, well, one thing that I don't like is like means almost nudity. That's what it means to me. And I just want to apologize to everybody in my church who knows that I love Love Island and perhaps saw that I posted that somewhere and heard that I do these think pieces and thought, I'm going to watch this show. And you turned it on Sunday night, the night where it definitely exemplified what I would call soft porn. I really do not look at what is going on. It's a lot for me. It's way too much, y'all. Like, it's a lot, okay? So I'm just going to apologize to the members of my church now. Amen. But the announcer's going to be a heart rate challenge and people get excited, okay? And Elan and Alondra are talking and they're working out a strategy of what they're going to do for their presentation. Because so normally in the heart rate challenge, from what I recall, they're separated. The guys and the girls, I thought. Like, I'm trying to remember. Do they come out? Yeah, they do come out together as a couple. Yes, but it's not everybody. Listen, there's 100 people in the villa. So things were done very, very in a compact, condensed way. Because I'm like, how did this go before? They would come out together as a couple, and then each of them, would do their dances individually and then back. But the way it was with this show, it was a lot. It was just a lot of costumes with polyester, not crepe material. I remember one of the costume that Elan had on, I remember that costume from season 5, actually, on someone else. Some of the costume, I don't know. It was a lot. And the costumes, yeah. Oh, but Amaya's costume, I thought was very, very cute. And that's the only costume that I think I looked at or recall before I was closing my eyes because what is happening, okay? So the heart rate challenge is basically when each of the partners will do lap dances and various aerobics to try to get somebody else's partner's heart to race. There was a lot of kissing. There was a lot of cross kissing, girls on girls kissing. A lot of people like to kiss Sierra. Did even Alondra kiss? There was a lot. I blank out, like I said, during this time, and I'm just like, wait for it to be over. But one thing that was clear when the heart rate challenge ended, even before it ended, was that when Huda and Chris went and they brought up Ace and Shelly as the people that they would also dance with, it seemed that Huda might have been a little bit extra. Imagine that. It seemed that her dance on Ace seemed to continue into another time zone, and everybody looked shocked. And Shelly was pissed. And Ace and Taylor, giggly Taylor, Taylor was doing his weird giggle and laugh behind near Clark, and Ace was kind of hiding behind Shelly's back. And that's when I see how young they both are when they talk, to tell you the truth. Like, Taylor anyways, so the heart rate challenge definitely caused some tension, and Huda wanted to talk to Shelly because she was like, are you mad at me? I think Shelly's mad at me. Shelly's mad at me. Are you mad at me? You mad at me? Mad at me? Mad at me? Mad at me? And I think it kind of ended like that. I'm trying to remember how Sunday night ended, but Shelly was like, didn't want to talk to her. The girls had a little tete-a-tete, and then Adriana went down to say what the other girls were saying. There's a lot of gossipy type of people in this show, okay? Adriana is gossipy, and Elan is gossipy, and who else was creeping around listening to a conversation before? But anyway, heart rate challenge happens. Basically, everybody goes to bed angry. That's what I have for after the heart rate challenge, okay? But before they go to bed, yes, there is a little bit of talking. Elan and Nick Nick is angry at his doppelganger, okay, because he doesn't like the fact that Elan is still, kind of going for Sierra when Nick has made it clear that she's his, though he hasn't really made it clear to me. Taylor finally speaks to Alondria, kept it short though, because he had not talked to her since he chose Clark over her. It was just short. Hood is crying. But Shelly's just straight up like, you know what, I can't talk to you. I don't want to talk to you now. I don't want to talk to you about what you did to Ace and his Flintstones because I don't know what I'm going to say, so I'll talk to you tomorrow. To me, Huda just has to work on her accountability instead of just immediately crying, because then she tells Amaya that Shelly didn't want to talk to her. That's not what Shelly said. She said she didn't want to talk to her then because she didn't know what she would say. She would prefer to sleep on it and talk to her tomorrow. But Huda just says to Amaya, Shelly wouldn't talk to me. It's like, no, that's not the translation. Okay? Anyways, then it's time for everybody to go to bed, and everybody is angry at somebody else. There's just, the Heartrate challenge is always something that kind of rocks the villa. Even though things are very different this year with the 100 people in the villa, it just always rocks the boat. I want you to rock the boat. Okay, so now it's the next morning after the Heartrate challenge. And people are cooling off, okay? So Ace actually apologizes to Shelly for how he was and brings her breakfast and flowers. Chris still makes breakfast for Shelly, and he also makes breakfast for Huda. And he also puts a flower in the middle of Shelly's plate. Because he had already given her the flowers, and Shelly had told Ace about him giving her the flowers, and now Ace brought her the flowers because he's really Ace is gonna give it to him. Ace, he's uptight, but he's trying, okay? And then I have here, I don't know, there must have been a conversation. Yeah, Nick, he said something about a percentage again. The percentages. I don't want Nick to ever use a percentage again. I just don't like his percentage talk. And he started with that. So then I also have that Elan is a spy. They're just gossipy. They're just too gossipy, listening to what other people are saying and reporting back. It's just so kindergarten to me. Anyway, Ace and Shelly continue to have the same sort of frustrating conversation and energy that they had at the very beginning, where I feel that they both like each other, but they're so stubborn. It's like Shelly wants Ace to step up to the plate and then say that he's ready to be closed off, but in the conversation, he says he doesn't feel like he's ready for that. Shelly is still exploring Chris, and it really there's a bee in Ace's bonnet. He is not feeling Chris being in the villa. It's really bothering him. He's doing good at controlling it when he talks to Shelly, but when he talks to Taylor, like, he's pissed. He's like ready for battle, for war here. But they just seem so stubborn because you can tell they really like each other. And it seems to be the same thing. Shelly wants Ace to just say how he really feels and step up. And Ace wants Shelly to say how she really feels, but in this case, and also forget about Chris. But I like that she still wants to explore. I actually like Chris for her. He's very mature. But this is what life is like with 100 people in the villa. And I'm like, have there ever been 18 people in the villa before? It's really loud, okay? Like, when they're talking, I'm just like, oh my goodness, this is a lot of noise is going on. Anyway, also going on Monday. So we're on the 30th. This is after the challenge, okay? Sorry. They're finally, they get an announcement that there's going to be a date. Sierra gets a date. Sierra and Nick get a date, okay? Now, here's something I'll tell you, and ask me if I'm being too critical, but what was Sierra wearing? Like, I actually like Nick's outfit, and whenever they go on a date on the show, everybody's excited. We're going on a date. We're going on a date. And then they all dance around, and the guys help the guy get dressed, and the girls help Sierra get dressed, but who helps Sierra get dressed? Because Sierra just had on a bikini top and shorts. Like, normally the girls put on something a little special, you know what I mean? So that just stood out to me. Maybe it didn't matter to anybody else, but I'm like, come on, Sierra. Like, I don't know, maybe she didn't have time. It's hard. There's 100 people in the villa. Maybe she couldn't find her clothes. But yeah, she didn't really like get an extra special for Nick. So that, I don't know, that stood out to me because she likes him so much, and it's their first date. This is a big moment, y'all. This is a big moment in reality TV on Love Island USA. We need to get with the program. Anyways, their date is bicycles in a basket. So they have like a little cookout basket, and they sit down on the checkered tablecloth, and they talk, and they stare into each other. Not really. Sierra says, "Am I your dream girl?" And Nick, there's a long pause, but editing does that, so I don't fall for anything. But I don't think she is his dream girl, because I think that if Jaden was interested in him, he would have still been talking to Jaden. Or if a bombshell came in that morning, he would still be talking to the bombshell, because that's his thing. He just didn't seem like he wanted to be closed off, but he's very, very territorial and angry about Elan in the villa. And I just don't, he really is jealous. And yeah, it's interesting looking at what makes the men jealous. Now, a lot of this started because of the Heartrate challenge, and Elan was like, yeah, you with Nick, but that's okay. I'm still going after Sierra, and it is what it is. So that just really also had like a bee in Nick's bonnet, or in his cowboy hat in this case. But anyways, they're out there. It's kind of romantic, but also rushed. They pop the champagne, and then basically they have the conversation and decide that they're going to be closed off. But I mean, I guess we're running out of time. There are only 17 episodes left in the show. There are 100 people in the villa, and there are no real solid couples. So I guess production is like, we need to do something. Somebody needs to be a couple up in this show because there's 100 people here and there's no solid couple yet. There are also conversations that happen to, like, they're on the date. Alondria decides that she can talk to like Elan and Zach, and also Taylor. They keep bringing up Taylor. I don't think Alondra should talk to Taylor at all. She really likes this guy. One of the things that Taylor says when he's talking to Clark is that he really likes how they have fun together, and they do look like that. They're more comfortable together. But like, you know, Clark is like, are you still going to keep talking to Alondria? And even I'm like, are you still going to keep? No. He does legitimately seem like he's confused. But listen, when they had to vote somebody off the other night, did you guys hear Taylor saying, he said in this show, he said that he was one of the people that voted for her to stay, but initially it looked like he was saying, no, don't vote for Alondra. He's like, she was taking shots at me. She was taking shots at me, meaning that she was upset that he cut her off, so he didn't want her still there. I remember that. Anyway, I'm just putting that out there, and it's hard for me to remember things, but that stood out to me. Anyways, there's still this Alondria sort of Taylor thing. And then I was not online. I told you I stayed off reading Reddit and all the things and doing all the things I would normally do to watch a show, because everything is too convoluted and way too negative, and I like to just enjoy the show. So I was not part of the whole Nick and Alondria thing about the families that wanted them together. I do think they have energy, but it has not been explored, and production tried that. So I was never part of that whole thing. I didn't even really see it, but hey, you know, that's what's good. We all see different things, okay? But in that conversation, I heard Nick say something about a percentage. Somewhere in the day he talked about percentages, and I don't want Nick to ever talk about percentages again. Amaya because Zach hasn't really been talking to her that much, she decides that she's going to talk to Elon. Elon, I call him Elan and Elon. And she talks about the moon and her family and how it's so great that the moon is always there. No matter where her family is, she can always feel close to them if she looks at the moon. She's so cute. Elan talks about his family and how he has a sister that moved to Belgium. Like, they live in different parts of the world. And she's like, is that near Germany? But you know what? I didn't think that was funny because, listen, if you have not traveled to Europe or know the different parts, you might think that that's where it is. So that was fine. You know what I'm saying? But when she said Belgium like the waffles, that was the best. And that made me laugh. Adriana, who's decided that she's going to make her move for Pepe l'Espanol. And Pepe l'Espanol, cold busted, cut her off. No, I will not explore. I don't want to talk to you. I'm happy with my partner. And Diana does say that she's not used to that. And like, woo. So I don't know. Hang in there, Jeremiah. Hang in there. She might get kicked off the show and you guys might be able to talk again. Okay, just thought I'd say that. Okay. And then we have Zach and Alondria talking. And I wish that they had talked. If she was so hooked on Taylor when she went to Casamore, she's never explored. So Alondria, very, very late in the game in the show, is finally exploring. And I do find that her and Zach are similar. Even when Zach was talking to Amaya more about his family, I'd remembered that before. Him and Alondria are similar, and they both talk fast. And Zach, like, he's not like super famous, like, what do they call them? Influencer famous. He has been on Big Brother. I didn't realize he was friends with Miguel, but I had made the reference of, like, you know, we do get people from Love Island UK or that were supposed to be on there. They chose to do the USA. So as, like, you know, Zita did that and Miguel did that. He's still with Leah. So I'm sure other people from the UK too are seeing what it's like, but it's not easy. There's visas involved and a lot of things. It's not like an overnight thing. But bringing UK people over has happened like in each of these seasons for the past like few years. So, you know, but I like Zach. I just like him. And I actually like him and Alondria. They definitely have, that's the thing, the friendship thing. It's so hard in these shows because we're saying like, oh, you know, Sierra and Nick, it's just all lust. But she has better communication with Elan. And you need both. You do need both, you know. I don't know, you guys, this show, but I'm enjoying it. I have no idea what's going to happen tonight. I did not watch the first look, even before I talked about this. I just wanted to give you guys some things to think about, talk about the things I noticed, especially the two things that stood out to me the most are that Chris doesn't have a home and when Taylor and Clark were talking. I have skipped through the whole Huda drama, but long story short, Huda took it too far on Ace's Flintstones, and Shelly just didn't really want to deal with her. Huda cried a lot. Huda kind of doesn't say things the way they're necessarily said to her. She does do kind of the victim blaming thing, but I also am going to point out again that Huda has never seen this show before. And I feel that's why she doesn't have the same loyalty of even telling people, I'm going to talk to this guy that you're talking to. I think Shelly is just kind of like, what's up with her? Like, Chris, I was talking to Chris, but then she's like, I'm going to talk to Chris. She did that also before they went over there with, I can't remember, was it Pepe l'Espanol? Yes, she did that with Hannah and Pepe l'Espanol. She tells the person after the fact, but she hasn't seen the show before. So in this show, even though if you're going to cheat, you just tell the person, hey, you know what? I really like you, but I'm going to cheat on you and talk to the other person, okay? That's kind of the level of respect they have in that show. And Huda, like, hey, I do believe she's never seen the show. Huda is in there for Huda. And the other thing that stood out, of course, is Chris. I really like him. He's nice. He knows how to deal with Huda. But there's a couple times where I'm just like, she's saying that she's cool, she's saying this, that, but then she's asking, do you FaceTime? Do you this? Do you like this? Do you this? And I just remember I watched Jeremiah's interviews after too. Like, that's a thing with her. And then she takes it at face value and runs with it. But she has seemed to be doing better. Okay? The other thing that was very clear on the show last night was that it wasn't just Shelly that was appalled with Huda on Ace's Flintstones. It was the entire cast. That we only see the edited version, but she kind of went off. But I think that's Huda. Honestly, I don't think she does that to be mean. I just think Huda is all about Huda, and Huda is like, she's just going for it. She's like somebody that's been unleashed into a world where she is finally free to explore and do whatever. And that excludes everybody else in the show, which is not really what Love Island is about, but it does make for interesting television. Anyway, those are my thoughts. I have no idea what's going to happen tonight. I can tell you, I would love for more bombshells to come in, please. But there's such a little space of time with shows left. I do like Ace and Shelly, but I'm not sure if Ace is mature enough for Shelly. He has a lot. He just has to prove it to her, man. Like, Ace, just let go of all that bravado and just let her know, Anyways, that's it for my think piece. And I had a lot of notes. And I can't wait for tonight's show. I am interested to see if Chris and Shelly can kind of work their way back around to each other. I'm interested to see what happens with Zach and Alondria. Out of everybody, they make the most sense to me. Or if somebody, the best looking, most handsome, amazing cowboy with maturity can come into the villa with life experience, and Alondria is like, I don't know what's going to happen, y'all. I'm just a hopeless romantic. But thank you so much for listening. I can't wait for tonight's show. Think about some of the things I mentioned, though. Like, what hits you when you hear these men, young men and women, talk to each other, especially about their life outside the villa? But to be honest, there isn't anybody right now, to me, that really connects where I can see them beyond the villa. Okay? That's it. If you like what I had to say, you know what to do. Please like and subscribe. And I will see you the next time. And that's what's up.